those shoes off. If you feel more comfortable keeping them on, then keep them on. We are going to spread our toes. We're going to start off just by spreading our toes individually, so spread out those pinky toes. And I want you to just lift the big toes up and down. And then we're going to push into the big toes and lift the little toes. I'm just going to turn this music down a little bit. Okay, so pushing the big toes down, lifting the little toes. Good, and then just spread your toes. I want you to remember to keep your hips backed up over your ankles. So instead of standing with your hips in front of your ankles, you're gonna push your hips back, okay? So remember that. We're just gonna take a deep breath in and exhale down. We're gonna roll those shoulders up, forward, and back. If you wanna do this against a wall, so then you can check your posture, that might be beneficial. So just rolling those shoulders up, forward, and down. And again, you're trying to maintain the nice tall alignment as if you were up against a wall. Nice job. And then we're gonna go the other direction, up, back, and down. So if you're sitting in a chair, you can still do this exercise. We're just rolling our shoulders up, back, and down. Good. Okay, and then we're gonna bring our fingers to the tops of your palms and bring your thumbs out wide. You're gonna put your knuckles on your temples, your thumbs to your jaw, and you're gonna bring your elbows in and your elbows out, okay? Elbows in, elbows out. So again, standing tall, backing those hips up. This reminds the shoulder joint that can also operate as a hinge joint instead of just ball and socket. So taking some nice deep breaths in and out, trying to relax the body, and just going at your own slow pace. Okay, we're gonna wake up those joints, renew, relax, refresh with some stretches and movements today. All right, good job. We're gonna go into a little bounce. So we do this in Tai Chi. This can be very therapeutic for all your muscles. So you're just gonna kind of shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. You're just shaking it out. You can bring the arms up overhead. This helps to move the waste products and get them into circulation so you can get them out of your body. So we're just bouncing, bouncing, bouncing. The health bounce, right? It's the health bounce. Good, so just, and if you're in a chair, you can just bounce your upper body and your arms, okay? But if you can, stand up, you can hold on to something, or just bouncing those knees, spreading the toes, shake it, shake it, shake it. Okay, cool. So I want you to just gently shift your weight from left to right, okay? And if you feel comfortable, you can start to lift up one foot. So I want you to go slow, spread all your toes, push down through the whole foot. So you want this part of your foot to be on the ground, not just one side or the other, but think of your foot having 4 corners, and all 4 of those points you want to keep on the ground as you shift left and right. So as you start to get better at this, you can lift one foot up and then the other. And I'm not really lifting my foot, I'm actually pushing down through the standing leg, and that is popping the other leg up. So I'm gonna try not to lean so much left and right. I'm just gonna try to spread my toes. It's hard for me to keep my big toe down, so I'm gonna really spread my big toe, push through that point. Take my time. Good, okay, we're gonna bend our knees. You're gonna kind of push your booty out like that. We're gonna round the spine and flatten out the back, okay? So rounding and flattening, and round and flatten, and round and flatten, and round and flatten. Good. And then if you're comfortable, you're gonna come all the way down. You can hold on to a chair if you need to. You can bend your knees a lot. If you're sitting in a chair, just reach down to the floor, okay, be careful. And again, if you're standing, bend your knees a lot or a little bit, depending on how tight you are in the backs of the legs. Let your head relax. Shake your head out, no, and yes. And just really soften and stretch the neck. You can also grab your elbows and go from side to side. Good. And then we're gonna slowly bend the knees, keep that back straight and come on up. Good. All right, so I want you to bring your left hand behind your back, like this. And you're gonna pull your chin back. So bring your chin in, and then you're gonna drop your right ear to your right shoulder. So we're stretching the left side of the neck. And breathe. So you can do this sitting or standing. Keep dropping that ear to your shoulder. Notice your breathing. Notice how that left arm feels, how your left neck feels. If you want to rub it out a little bit, if it's sore at all. You can slowly bring your chin towards your chest and then back again. So just kind of massaging the neck. That feels good to you. Good, notice how much lower your head drops the more that you stretch it, the longer you stretch and hold. So bringing that ear closer to the shoulder, keep relaxing your shoulders down. Maybe you drop that chin towards your chest again and come back up. Really breathing. And then go ahead and release your left arm, shake it out, and then slowly bring the head back to center. And we're just gonna bring the head forward and back gently. So I'm just bringing my head forward and pulling it back. Forward and pulling it back. So practicing ramping the head back. Good, now go ahead and drop your chin towards your chest. You can stand or sit for this one. And we're gonna raise our head off of our chest without lifting your chin. So it looks like this. You're gonna ramp your head back, but notice how I'm keeping my chin down until I get my head stacked on top of my neck. So let's do that again. Drop your chin down. Feel that nice stretch on the back of the neck, right? And then don't lift your chin up, but just pull the head back, vertebra to vertebra, all the way back until your head rests on top of your spine. And do it again. Drop your head, chin to chest. Feel the stretch in the back of the neck. Take a breath here, and then slowly pull the head back, ramping the head back, keeping your chin down until your head comes up. One more time, drop that chin towards your chest, feel the stretch. And go ahead and pull that head back on top of your head, or on top of your shoulders. Roll those shoulders up, forward, and down. And let's do the other side. So we're gonna take the right hand, bring it behind your back. Again, you can do this standing if you want, or sitting. And then we're gonna drop the left ear towards the left shoulder. So really allowing that left ear to drop down, relax your shoulders. If you wanna flip your palm, you can. So if you feel fine like this, great. If you can do this, great. If you can get rid of the bony prominences by bringing that shoulder forward, even better. Okay, so left ear to left shoulder. We're stretching. We're dropping that shoulder away from your ear. Breathing. Keep letting that neck really stretch out. If you want to rub it a little bit or massage the trapezius muscle up here in the upper back. So keep letting that ear Drop closer and closer to that shoulder. Keep stretching that right shoulder. You can bring your chin towards your armpit and then drop your chin towards your chest. And then come back up again. So just deepening that stretch if that feels good. We'll do one more. And really let that ear drop towards your shoulder. Ooh, see if you can get your ear to touch your shoulder without hiking your shoulder up. Ooh, I swear one time I got it. Oh, okay. Don't hurt yourself. So now we're gonna circle our nose. So we're gonna circle our head. Circle your nose. So you're just tracing your nose in a big old circle. So those neck stretches, my teacher recommended doing those every hour. Every hour stretch your neck out, especially if you work at a computer or you're stressed, you hold your stress in your shoulders and your neck like I do. That's a really good thing to do. Go ahead and slowly go the other direction. Now the slower you go, I'm going a little quickly. The slower you go, the more you're gonna feel it and the more relaxation effects are gonna occur. So if you can slow it down even more, the magical effects will occur. Any kind of stretch that you can perform slowly is gonna be much more therapeutic. Okay, we're gonna come back to our calves. If you have a rolled towel at home, you're gonna wanna get your rolled towel, just get a towel, roll it up. If you have one of these nifty foam rollers, grab that. We're gonna do the calf stretch. So we're gonna put it in front of our left foot. You're gonna put the ball of your left foot on the dome, heel is on the ground, right foot is out to the side. We're gonna try to keep our feet hip width apart, and you get to decide how far forward you want to advance your right leg. So if you're feeling very tight in your calf, then what I want you to do is step your right foot back. Or maybe make the dome smaller. Maybe it's too thick for you. Maybe the circumference is too wide, okay? And then put your hands on your hips and make sure they're not pointed any other direction than straight ahead, okay? If you are not feeling, and both of your feet should be straight. So if you think about painting an arrow on the top of your foot, that arrow should point straight ahead and your feet should be parallel like train tracks. Don't look at your toes. Cover your toes and just look at the bones of your feet, not including your toes. And those should be straight. The toes might be going in, you might feel pigeon-toed, but you're actually anatomically straight. So once you've established that, then if you don't feel a stretch in your left calf, then you can step forward with your right foot. And then you want to make sure that all four corners of your foot, again, are evenly pressing into the dome, okay? And then I want you to drop your ribs. So a lot of us, when we say stand up straight, we do this. And we pop our ribs up. So you want to drop your ribs down, pull your chin back, relax your shoulders. Make sure your hips are forward. If you're really advanced and you know what I mean when I say externally rotate your femur, then externally rotate your femur. So that's going to align the hamstring tendons. And then you may have noticed that you supinated your foot. So I want you to drop that big toe down again, the bone beneath the big toe. Drop that down. You might feel a stretch in your arch and your ankle. So you're trying to still externally rotate the femur, the thigh bone. And if this is all too much, just drop it. But if you're still with me, externally rotate the thigh bone, the femur, but then drop the foot. Drop the medial, the inside part of your foot down where your big toe is. Drop that down. And then try and relax your thighs. So are you clenching your thighs for dear life to try and balance? If you are, then grab a chair so that you can relax your thighs. When you can soften the thighs and relax the thighs, miracles happen, okay? A lot less knee pain, a lot less hip pain. You want to back your hips up, relax your thighs. See if you can, how do you know if your thighs are relaxed? You should be able to tighten your thighs and your kneecap goes up, and then you relax your thighs and your kneecap relaxes down. So if you can't tighten your thighs, they're most likely already tightened and stuck. So you're going to need to work on loosening up your thighs. And that's going to be a wall exercise where you push your hips up against the wall, both knees are straight, and you work on bouncing those kneecaps. I don't know if you can see me, but I'm doing it now. You probably can't see in these black pants. All right, that's been more than a minute. Go ahead and step off. The beautiful thing about this stretch is that not only is it highly, highly, highly beneficial for walking, for preventing knee pain, for getting rid of knee pain, but it also is a really good balance exercise because maybe you're not holding on to anything, okay? All right, so let's do a check. Our feet are hip width apart. Our feet point straight ahead. Our hips are back over our ankles. And notice I'm not shifting my weight to one side or the other. I'm trying to stay really even, okay? My ribs are relaxed and down. I'm pulling my chin back so that my ears stack over my shoulders. I'm backing my hips up so that my hips fall over my heels. I'm dropping my big toes down, the bones of the big toes on both feet. I'm trying to relax my toes. I'm trying to not let my right knee go in. It's a lot to think about, and that's what being mindful is all about. We're really focused on all the different positions of our body. So that's why exercise, one of the reasons why exercise is so therapeutic, because when you engage your brain with your body, you take it to a whole other level. So I know a lot of people like to zone out when they're exercising and, you know, get lost in a movie or a TV program or their music, and that all has its place, but there's something very special and unique about really thinking about each body part, what it's doing, really focusing into your body. Because maybe something that I'm asking you to do doesn't feel right. Then you know, okay, that doesn't work for me. How can I adjust this so that it does work for me? Or maybe you just need to skip that part altogether. But the closer connected you are to listening to your body during each of these movements, the further you're going to be, because you're trusting your body and it's being your guide. And our bodies are very smart and they know exactly what we need. Okay, so keep dropping the big toe down. Remember, if this is too far of a stretch, too big of a stretch on your right calf, you're going to back your left foot up, a little bit. And then make sure your feet are straight again, because they're going to want to turn out. If you don't feel the stretch, then you step forward. You're working up towards being able to take a full step forward where you actually bypass the dome or the rolled towel. That's what we're working towards. Hips are square. Okay, cool. So now we're going to, you might need to grab a chair for this next one. I'll show you what I mean, but we're going to do the double calf stretch. So you can hold on to a chair. You don't have to. You're going to put the soles of your feet again on the dome. Try to get your feet hip width apart. Back your hips up a lot. Keep backing them up. Good. And then go ahead and you might be able to lift and lower your kneecaps here. So first you have to relax your thighs. And if you're afraid of falling or you don't feel very steady and balanced, you're not going to want to let go of the thigh gripping. So just keep that in mind. You want to feel really stable and safe. Okay? So backing your hips up, knees are straight so that we can stretch the tissues behind the knee. If our knees are always bent, these tissues shorten. So straighten those knees. Relax your thighs. Pull your ribs in. See if you can get your pelvis in a neutral position so there's a slight curve in your low back. And then when you do that, you can really feel the stretch behind the calves, behind the hamstrings, wherever it is for you. So we're gonna hold this for about a minute. Try to let go of any tension in your shoulders. Keep pushing the hips back so they're nice and even. Remember about your feet. So see if you can externally rotate your thighs and then push the points below your toes, those bones, that big mound where the sole of your feet, those little pads, push that down into the foam. Okay, so you don't just want to be on the outsides of your feet. You want to push down through the middle, inside part of your foot as well, so it's balanced. Keep pushing those hips back. If you want to make this into a bigger stretch for your upper body, you can do that too, but keep backing your hips up. And then we're going to come on up. Okay, we're going to curl the top of our foot under. So what you're going to do is curl the toes under like this, so that the top of your foot gets stretched a little bit. This can be painful, so you might need to hold on to something to kind of offset the weight. Okay, but start with your feet hip width apart, back your hips up so that your hips are over your ankle. They're not in front. See the difference? I'm in front of my ankle, now I'm behind my ankle. When I'm behind or right above my ankle, I can soften my thigh and I can relax my patella. And that patella has a little pointy bone on the end of it. And when it's always contracted and it's always pulled up into your femur bone, it can start to erode at that cartilage. We don't want that. All right, let's go ahead and switch sides. So feet are hip width apart. We're gonna spread our toes again. I'm gonna shift to my left foot. I'm gonna externally rotate, push down through my whole foot, and then I'm gonna curl the top of the right foot under. Now, watch, my foot wants to naturally go out to the side. I'm gonna try to not let that happen. I'm gonna try to keep it straight back. We're gonna do an exercise later where we raise our calves up and down. Same thing. You don't wanna let your feet roll out to the side. You wanna keep them nice and straight. So same thing here. Try to keep that foot nice and straight. Now, if this feels okay, you can extend your foot back further. And you might be wondering what kind of pad I'm on. This is a Naboso pad, and they were made by a chiropractor, I think, or a physical therapist. And what it does is it stimulates your foot. So there's thousands of stimulus points in your feet, and because our feet are in shoes most of the time, they don't get this stimulus, and they get bored. And they get dumb and they forget how to work well. So we want to spark our feet and have them come alive with new interest and new feeling, just like you would want a baby to explore its environment. You also want to baby your feet and have them explore their environment. Let's go back to the first foot. So shift your weight to your right foot, spread those right toes, bring the left foot back. Again, it can just be right here if you're feeling more flexible and you have flexible feet because you've transitioned to shoes that have a little give to them and flexibility so that you have more mobility when you walk. Then you can go back a little bit further. Remember, you're gonna back your hips up. You might need to hold on to your chair. If you haven't done this exercise in a while, it can be very painful, but it really improves rapidly and quickly, especially every day with practice. So that's why I recommend, if you work from home or if you have an office at home, to get a standing desk. So you just elevate your desk or you put something under your computer so it's a little bit higher and it sits right at the belly button level so you can type. And then do these stretches while you're standing once, twice, 3 times a day. It's really gonna change your life and prevent injury, and you're gonna feel so much better in your feet. I can't tell you how many people have foot problems and foot pain. And it's really because we don't really pay attention to what's going on with our feet. We don't think about our feet. We just put them in shoes, and the shoes are inappropriate for our feet. So I was saying, let's go ahead and switch, that there are many nerves and connections and stimulus points in our feet, and they need to be stimulated. They need to be woken up. And when they're in socks and shoes all day long, thick shoes, and everything has its purpose. So if you need those thick shoes, you need your orthotics, that's a different story. But if you can spend a little bit more time doing toe exercises or foot exercises, making your foot more flexible, maybe transitioning to a more barefoot type shoe, a minimal support if you can, Check with your physical therapist, check with your doctor, your podiatrist, make sure that that's going to be okay for you. But most cases, the majority of people can and do benefit from transitioning to a more minimal shoe that has flexibility in the foot or in the shoe itself, has a wide toe box, and I'm going to do one more time on each side. And also, one of the major problems is when the heel of the shoe is thicker than the forefoot part of the shoe. So it's like you have a heel on. And this is found in tennis shoes, running shoes. Take a look at your shoes when you get home, and you'll notice that the back part is slightly taller than the front part. And that's going to change your overall biomechanics. It's going to shorten your calves every single day, every moment that you're wearing tennis shoes or something with the little heel. It's shortening your calves. What does shortening your calves have an effect? It stops the extension when you're walking, so then you have to turn your feet out and duck walk or rock back and forth or twerk your hips so that you can get more extension. So the body has all these really cool little cheats that it does if it can't get optimal movement. But why not strive to bring optimal movement, return optimal movement back to your body, because that is your birthright, and we are here to educate you how to do that. Okay, so I hope that I emphasize how important it is to focus on our feet. Let's go back to our feet. I want you to just spread them nice and wide, okay? And I want you to imagine, or you can even take like a marker or something, like I'm going to use this yoga strap. I'm going to put it on the floor, and I'm going to bring it like a 1/4 inch away from my big toe, and I'm going to take my big toe and I'm going to bring it up and over, and I'm going to try to touch that rope or whatever object you have. Maybe it's just a line on your floor. So you're going to bring it up and over, touch it, and then come back. Bring it up and over, touch it, and come back. So we're working that abductor, ABD, muscle in your big toe, which tends to be super atrophied and weak because of the shoes that we're in. And if you have like lax ligaments, or your skin like stretches out easily, you may notice that you're really flexible, or you get stretch marks more easily, or maybe when you were a little kid your joints would come out of the socket easily, or you could hyperextend. Those are all indications that your collagen structure just genetically is softer and more malleable. So those types of people, and I'm actually one of them, when you put that foot into a narrow toe box over decades, you're in shoes from the time you're little till however you are, that can cause the big toe to get pushed over and cause those bunions. So everybody thinks that bunions are genetic or hereditary, and they're not really. So the only thing that's genetic is if you inherit a certain type of collagen that's more susceptible to deformation, or if we learn to walk by mimicking our parents and those that raise us. So if they walk a certain way, maybe with their feet turned out, and we start to mimic that, then we can develop these deformities. But it's not, you're not just, oh, my mom had a bunion, so I'm going to get a bunion too. No, there's lots of things that you can do to correct that. And it starts with having a wide toe box with your footwear and doing these toe exercises. So So we're just bringing that big toe out and then bringing it back in. Let's go ahead and switch sides. You might notice that your foot starts to cramp or your arch starts to cramp, and that's actually a good sign that you're strengthening those muscles that you don't normally use. So we're just bringing that big toe, and it's even harder on my left foot. I've been practicing more on my right side because that's the side that the toe pushes it a little bit more. So I can tell the difference that my left side isn't as strong as my right. So the really cool thing about toe exercises is that while they're extremely difficult and frustrating, you will notice improvements quickly. So I would recommend taking a picture of your foot, how it looks now, and then again like a year later, or 6 months or a month, like whatever it is for you that you're gonna stick to these exercises. So we're just bringing the toe out to the side, trying to tap that object or that line, and then coming back. You're trying to do it without moving your foot, but just moving your toe. And it's tough. It takes a lot of concentration. So your brain might fatigue before your actual muscle does. And that's because we need that brain muscle connection. So we need that nervous system input. And if your foot isn't used to moving in this way, you kind of have to retrain it. It's called motor control. So your brain and your muscles coordinate together to move efficiently and effectively the way that you want them to. It's also why you might notice that your fingers like clench when you're trying to do some of these exercises. It's because we have mapping all over our brain and we're trying to use everything that we can to improve that brain muscle connection. Whew. Okay, let's take a break from that, a mental break, and let's just go ahead and do some arm circles. So I just want you first to just let those arms just kind of drop. So I'm using momentum to kind of wake up my shoulders and just let those arms drop. And this should feel good. If it doesn't, slow it down. Maybe don't go so high. Okay. And from here, I want you to go by a chair or a counter or a wall, and we're gonna lift the heels up, okay? But I want you to try to not lean forward into your chair. I want you to try to lift straight up and back down. The other thing that I want you to make note of is that when you come up and down, that you press into your entire foot, your toes, and you want your heel bone to come up and to come back down. You don't want it to go in or to go out. You want it to be nice and straight as you come up and down. So maybe you can only do 5. Maybe you only do a few because you get tired. That's okay. Really concentrate on keeping those, I like to call them the toe knuckles, because everybody can kind of know what I'm talking about. The toe knuckles down. Keep your hips over your ankles as best as you can. Lift straight up and down. So we're going to do these exercises to fatigue. So we're going straight up and straight down. Spreading the toes. Toes are relaxed. Straight up and straight down. Relaxed shoulders. So you might be starting to feel it. You might need to take a break. That's fine. If you can do this in a mirror, that's great. One of the things that happens is we kind of roll to the outsides of our feet as we get tired and weaker. Try to still put pressure through the inside medial ball of your foot. So through that medial joint there, the inside joint. Keep pushing down through that, right behind the big toe. Okay, don't let your feet roll out. Nice, strong ankles. Whew, let's do 5 more if you can. So keep those hips back over the ankles, coming up And coming back down. One more. Great job. Okay, let's just do top of the foot stretch and then we'll do a calf stretch. So just really quickly, this helps also to loosen up the ankle. So grab your hack dome again or your roll towel and put the ball of your left foot on the dome. Feet are hip width apart. Spread your toes and then press the ball of your foot down so that your foot is even and not supinated. And then bring your right foot wherever it wants to go. See if you can back your hips up, soften your thighs, pull your chin back. Let's go ahead and drop the chin towards our chest again. Breathe. Back up your hips, relax the fronts of your thighs. Externally rotate your leg and then drop the big toe back down. And you might feel a big stretch. I know I feel a big stretch in my ankle when I do that because you're changing the position of your foot. So go slow. Most important thing, go slow. Gradual changes are best to prevent injury. Okay? But it's really going to be cool and amazing to see the transformation of your feet as well as the transformation of less pain, better walking, better function. So if you need to take a step forward more, or if you need more of a calf stretch, if not, just stay where you are. If it's too much, back up a little bit. Watch the feet, make sure the tops of the feet point straight ahead, hips pointed forward. Pretty neat, these bodies of ours. Of course, grab some water if you need it. Okay, now I want you to just bend your left knee just a little bit. Okay, so normally we keep our left knee straight when it's on the dome. I want you to bend it a little bit. So we're getting more into the soleus muscle of our calf. This is really important that we are able to bend the knee while keeping the heel down, that the heel doesn't come off the floor. This is good for your Achilles tendon. Okay, if you get inflammation of your Achilles, you want to stretch it out. A lot of times those Achilles tendons that rupture is from wearing a heel in your shoe all day long and you're not aware of it because you're like, I'm not a girl, I don't wear high heels, but you're wearing tennis shoes, and most tennis shoes, especially running shoes, have that big chunky heel on the end compared to the front of the foot. So when you're first starting to transition to new shoes, I recommend keeping the same amount of cushion, but having that same amount of cushion in the front as in the back of the foot. So keep trying to spread your toes, trying to keep that foot straight, actually rotating the thigh, but then keeping that foot straight as we bend. Let's go ahead and step off and we'll switch sides. So put the ball of the right foot on the dome, left foot out to the side, wherever you need to put it. Remember, you can have it back far, especially if you're feeling a lot of tightness in that right calf. So drop both bones behind the toes, those knuckle bones. Press them down. Keep the bones of the feet pointed straight ahead. If you externally rotate your thigh, make sure you drop the MTP joint down again. Go drop your ribs, pull your chin back. We'll drop the left ear towards the left shoulder. Stretching out that neck. And bring your head up, drop your right ear towards your right shoulder. Keep your shoulders level. Now go ahead and bend your right knee just slightly. Okay, to stretch the soleus of your right calf. Drop your ribs, back your hips up, pull your head back. Lots of things to think about, and it will get easier with practice. Just breathing and relaxing. Okay, go ahead and step off. We're going to do double calf stretch again. So we're going to put both feet on the dome. Heels are on the ground. Externally rotate the thighs. When you do that, you're going to roll on the outsides of your feet, and then I want you to bring your feet back down. Okay? And then push those hips back. Try to keep the tailbone like it's lifting up towards the ceiling gently. Okay, try not to tuck that tailbone, lengthen through the back, pull the ribs in. If you are feeling more flexible, you can spin the chair around. Okay, if your legs are shorter, if this feels better, you can do this. While you're here, I like to kind of let the shoulder blades come together and then push them away to get some movement in the mid-back between the shoulder blades. You can also roll the shoulders a little bit and then go the other direction. So try to keep pushing the hips back. If it's too much to do two at once, just focus on the double calf stretch. Take some nice deep breaths, really lengthening through that tailbone. Maybe bend your knees, lift your tail, and then straighten those knees. Bounce your thighs a little bit. So from here, so you're either holding on to the back of the chair or you're holding on to the front of the chair. You're going to back your hips up. We're going to really push into all four corners of that right foot. And we're going to bring the left foot back. So you might feel more of a stretch on that left foot. I don't want you to tighten your right thigh. Okay, try to keep your right thigh relaxed. You should be able to lift and lower the kneecap. So the right foot is on the dome and your left foot is back and just hanging out. And then back your hips up. If you want to, you can raise the left leg up. Okay, maybe get those hips level. Back your hips up. See if you can lift and lower that kneecap. Maybe you come up a little bit. Maybe you use less fingertips, so you're working towards being able to hold your strength here with one leg. Okay. All right, come on down. Realign yourself. Back those hips up. Push into all four corners of the feet. We're going to shift to the right foot. Your left foot. And you're going to bring your right foot back. So let your right leg be really heavy. You should be able to lift and lower the muscles of the left leg. Right leg is heavy. Back your hips up. Okay. So we're working on being able to balance on that left leg while keeping it straight and not tightening up the thigh. Okay, if you want to come up higher and test your balance or test your strength. Okay, let's go back and do it again. So feet on the dome, back those hips up. Okay. Shift to the right foot. Bring that left leg back. Make sure that you can relax the front of that thigh. Good. Balancing. So you don't have to bring your hands off the chair. Gently rotate the thigh. Back your hips up. So we want to work the hamstrings and the buttocks. See if you can balance here without gripping in your feet. All right, let's do the left side. Last time. So back those hips up. Shift to the left foot. Bring the right leg back. So you can also just let your right leg relax on the floor to really stretch out that hip, or you can elevate it, but try to soften the front of the knee. Back your hips up and just work on strengthening the back of that left thigh and leg. You should be able to hold, work towards holding all of your weight up. So you might need to hold and use the chair. Try to soften the front of the thigh. Good, come back down. We're just gonna really push those hips back. This time I want you can keep your feet on the dome or you can come off the dome. We're gonna push the chair forward and you're gonna let your head drop between your arms. And really flatten out that kyphotic spine. You can let your head drop. And then bring your right arm over your left. So you're going to stretch more of the right side of your body. And then bring your right hand back and bring your left arm over that right and sit back. Good. And we're going to come up. Nice job. Hopefully your feet are feeling more and more alive. So we're just going to sit back into a really easy squat. So you're keeping your feet hip width apart and forward, and we're just pushing our hips back. You're trying to keep your knees over your ankles. Keep your tail lifted, and just see how low you can go before your tailbone drops down and rounds. Okay? So if you can't get down all the way, that's totally fine. And then we're going to come up again. So keep those knees over the ankles. Really push your hips back. You might need to hold on to a chair. And you can do this sitting into a chair and then sitting up again. Or you can try going low to the floor. Keep backing those knees up over your ankles. Okay, let's do one more. Back those knees up, back the hips up, a lot. And then coming in and back down. Okay, so we're just going to practice hip hinge and coming up. With the hip hinge, you really push your hips back. Okay, push your hips back. So we're not moving from the low back. I'm not doing this. I'm keeping my pelvis in a neutral position, and I'm just pushing my hips back. So my trunk comes forward and up by hinging at the hip and femur joint. Okay? But I'm keeping my low back and my spine in the same position. So this is where you can get into trouble if you don't know how to do a hip hinge and you round your back to pick something up. So you round your back to get that heavy Christmas box, okay? Or whatever it is you're moving. And this in itself is okay, right? Rounding, you can do whatever you want. But if you have osteoarthritis, or osteoporosis especially, or if you're lifting something heavy with your back rounded, not friendly on those discs, okay? So if you can learn how to hip hinge, bend your knees, pull the heavy object into your body, and then use your butt muscles to stand up, you're going to be a lot better off. So this hip hinge helps to establish muscles in your bottom and your hamstrings, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and just circle the hips. We'll stretch out that low back. And then we're gonna come on down to the ground for the final, 6 minutes of class. Okay, so this was an hour long today. We really focused on the feet and the legs and the lower body. Okay, and then if it feels good, you can put your hands on your back and just roll those shoulders together, push the hips forward, open up. Okay? All right, go ahead and grab your mat or wherever you're going to be laying down at or on. You also might need a strap, so you can use a dog leash, a sheet. I have this yoga strap. So come on down, using a chair or whatever you need to get down. You're gonna loop the strap around the ball of the right foot, and we're gonna stretch the hamstrings. So lift your hips up, come on down on your tailbone, stretch out your left leg, and then pull the foot towards you, keeping the knee straight, and try to push all 4 corners of the foot, or actually try to push the big toe side into the rope. Okay? Relax your shoulders, push through that big toe side, and you're just pulling the foot back. You should feel a stretch in the hamstrings and the calf. Maybe not as intense as it would be if we hadn't done all of those calf stretches earlier. So breathing, ideally you want to hold for about a minute, but because we're a little short on time, I'm just going to have you bring it across your body now. Keep that knee straight. So now you're feeling more of a stretch on the outside of your hip and buttock. You want to drop that leg all the way over to the left. You can, and do a little mini twist here. Twists are great for your circulation. Good, okay, come on up. Now keep your left hip down, so you can put your left hand on your left hip and let that right leg drop open to the right. Keep it nice and strong and straight and heavy. So we're stretching the inner thigh. It might be tight, so just allow your leg to soften. But don't let that left hip roll up. Keep it down. Try to let go of any tension in your shoulders. Just let that right inner thigh be really heavy. Good. Okay, go ahead and switch legs. So you're going to put the ball of the left foot through the rope. And then lift your hips up, come onto your tailbone. So there should be a little curve in your low back. Go ahead and stretch out your right leg and push through the ball of your foot and the big toe side. So because we all have a tendency to kind of supinate, so you're going to push that big toe down and then pull the leg back towards you, keeping the knee straight until you feel that stretch. Relax your shoulders. I like to rock my head from side to side because it stretches out the neck. So breathing. And then when you're ready, you can bring that leg across the body where you're going to get that outer hip and thigh stretch. Keep relaxing the shoulders. Breathe. Maybe moving your head from side to side. And then you're going to keep that right hip down And we're gonna drop the foot out to the left, keeping it nice and straight. Nice and heavy in that left leg. So inner thigh stretch for the left thigh. Using the rope in your arms for leverage. Try to relax your shoulders. That inner thigh might be really tense and really tight, so remember to go slow, go gradually. Breathe into it. You might not be able to stretch as deeply as you normally would in the summertime when you've been really active. So in the wintertime, we tend to not move as much and we're colder, so our muscles kind of get the same way. They get a little bit stiff and shorter and not as flexible. So just ease into this stretch. Good, and then we're gonna come up and take that band off. You're just gonna pull both knees in towards your chest and just kind of rock side to side. You can circle your knees and go the other direction. We're just gonna do a little gentle twist. So you're gonna bring your arms out to the side and you can drop either both knees over to the left, or I'm gonna straighten my left leg and drop my right knee over to the left. Now it's okay if your knee pops up or your arm pops up. See if you can anchor that knee and then rotate the trunk. So you're working towards dropping the right shoulder towards the mat, but try to keep that right knee anchored to the floor. You can use your left hand to push that right knee down. And then try to soften. It's a big stretch here. All right, and then we're gonna roll back, and I want you to just hug both knees in towards your chest, kind of realign that spine. And then arms out to the side, you can drop both knees over to the right, or you can straighten your right leg and bring that left knee across the body, dropping it down, anchor it to the floor, use that right hand, and then open up that left arm, left chest, rotate the trunk. You're doing a twist here. You're trying to get that left shoulder onto the floor. Maybe turn your head to the left. Feel that twist. Nice full deep breaths. Notice if one side of the twist was easier to get into than the other. So you might want to spend extra time on that side. All right, so we're going to slowly come out of that and pull both knees in towards your chest, and then you can roll like a ball on your spine, or you can just come up to a seated position. Thanks so much for joining me today. We will see you next time. Have a great day. See you again.